Here in the studio is Nguyen from the BBC Vietnamese service. It seems like a long time since we've seen some of those images, talked about these things. I mean, he was 102, but what an incredible legacy. Tell us a bit more.
Well, I think the names of Nguyen Giap, the legend of Vietnam War, is very well known in Vietnam and in the world. During the anti-French resistance war, as we call it in Vietnam, he defeated 4 French generals. And during the Second Vietnam War, as we know, with the Americans in the South and the Saigon regimes, he defeated, at least for the Vietnamese, William Westmoreland and other prominent American military leaders. So that's why for many communist and non-communist Vietnamese, at least in the North, he was a legend and he still remains so.
He was educated by the French. I mean, where did his zeal come from?
Actually, he learned a lot about European wars from the Napoleon times until the Second World War. And together with Ho Chi Minh, his master, I would say, they seized opportunity after the Second World War in the Far East to seize independence for the Vietnamese. But unfortunately, the French under General de Gaulle wanted to take Indochina back into this so-called French Union. So Giap joined founded an army, a little army, in the beginning only a battalion, and then it grew to 12 battalions. And the communist Vietnam under Giap and Ho Chi Minh draw the French out of the urban areas to fight in the jungles. And they won that war.
So in terms of strategy, it seems like he had incredible ability. Was he involved at all in the Tet Offensive, which we all know from the
Well, it's disputable because I think in the Second Vietnam War, or in Vietnam they call it anti-American resistance war, Giap was not so much involved. He remains a legend for the communist allies in Eastern Europe. But he was ill off and on during the time of Tet Offensive. And other people were leading the charge in Saigon. But obviously he was the commander-in-chief of the North Vietnamese army at the time, so the fame remained with him.
And I guess we should remember that he may have been a hero to the North Vietnamese, but obviously the nemesis of many South Vietnamese as well. I mean, how did they view him?
Well, actually, after the war, he remained very loyal to the Vietnamese nationalistic cause. So he was the aspiration behind a campaign, anti-Chinese campaign, I would say, when the Chinese tried to invest in some bauxite mining project in central Vietnam. And actually, the Vietnamese dissidents in the U.S., including people in the U.S. and in Vietnam, they still do draw aspiration from his resistance. So we cannot say that he was in any way acting behind the scene when he was already retired, but he was, for them, a symbol.
So not acting behind the scenes, but there he was at 102, not very well for the last few years of his life. But I was just quickly reading that he did still manage to draw politicians, many prominent Vietnamese in his 90s to come and see him. Was it simply because he was a source of inspiration, or do you think he continued to be influential as well?
I think he, after Ho Chi Minh, at least for the North Vietnamese and the Communist Party, which has become pretty corrupt in the market economy at the moment, he had remained a symbol of morality from the revolution. So that's why, obviously, he also drew a lot of visits from people like Chavez or the Castros. But still, for the Vietnamese, a big part of his legacy is about morality and about the fighting spirits of the Vietnamese. That's why he remains very popular.
Okay, Nguyen, thank you very much for sharing with us some of those incredible ideas and thoughts from that time, as we are just marking there the deaths of Nguyen Giap, a general from Vietnam who has died, we understand now, at the age of 102.